Bam. So anyway, I'm live. There's nobody here, so I'm just going to kind of be hanging out. And if people show up, we'll chat. If not, it's gonna be a kind of a just me sitting out here because yeah, sitting out here. It's getting a little barren behind me. I did some stuff off stream. I started building this little assembly here to hold this guy because at some point I would like to get this mounted to this, but I need to get some M3 T-nuts. I don't have M3 T-nuts, so I need to get some M3 T-nuts. So at some point when finances allow it, that's what I'll do. My Google Studio or my YouTube Studio is saying there was an error with the stream. Connecting to the stream to start the preview. There we go. Now I see the preview. Let's go back to live chat. I got live chat right there. So, but no, life is life's been life, and things have been fun. A little upsy downsy. So I'm not really sure project wise what I'm going to work on or want to work on. At some point I'll have to plug in the heater out here, and I'm running out of printers. So yeah. Got the switch wire there. I've got the one Centauri. I would like to put two more of them up there. Let's turn that off and go like this. I'd like to put two more up there. I'm not gonna lie. I'd like to have a row of Centauris. If anybody's got a Centauri they don't want, send it my way. If anybody has funds for me to purchase one or wants to purchase me one, I'll tell you where to send it. Still all alone though. It's a Sunday. Nobody's here. It's okay. Just gonna hang out and do my thing. One volleyball club keeps advertising and keeps showing up on my screen. Hmm. Yeah, just yeah, not a whole lot to talk about, but I mean, there's a lot to talk about, but not a whole lot to talk about. At least not when you're out here by yourself, talking to yourself. What's up, Dale? How is Mac 3D? Sorry, man. I just fired up the stream and sitting on here just kind of talking to myself for a little bit, you know. Figured I'd fire up a stream while I'm out here just kind of hanging out. Maybe fill everybody in on life and why I'm so distant lately. Um, what's going on, LTX? Good to see you, man. Hope you're doing well. I, yeah, life's been one of those when you're down, it kicks you kind of a thing. That's where I'm at. So trying to sort out one of your printers. What's the deal? Which printer and what's going on? Well, I'm sitting here trying to decompress my brain. Maybe I can assist you and take my mind off some other shit for a bit. You know, maybe. Yeah, I don't want to buy a car for $2,500 that has a hole in the block. That don't make no sense. Will, good to see you, man. Um, yeah, I've been better, gentlemen. I have been better. I was going to join Jerry's stream. What's up, neighbor? For those who don't know, King Chandler is my neighbor. He legitimately shares a driveway with me. I can smell his grill right now. He's got his grill fired up. So, um, but yeah, no, I was going to join Jerry's stream yesterday, but I mentally couldn't get on there and do anything. And then today I was sitting here and I'm like, maybe I could. So I came out, fired up the stream, and sat here for, yeah, what was it? About 5 minutes by my lonesome. Sensor issues. Got an error message. Waiting for FlashForce to send you some config files. Okay. Well, you got something going on there, so that's good. Evening, 3D Medic Vince. Good to see you, sir. Um, yeah. Right now, life has just been kind of a kick in the dick. So, not gonna sugarcoat it. It's just been rough. I mean, there's stuff going on, and it's you know the usual everyday stuff. So just not getting any easier. I've got till the 4th to pay a bill. I've got till the um, 1st to pay another bill. Um, I've got another bill coming due on the 1st again. Uh, I got another bill. There's like 4 bills or 5 bills that need to get paid, and I don't have the ability to do so. Um, the um, the income's not there, so that's been piling up. And every time I try to get ahead, you skip 3 bills to pay 1 bill, and then you end up skipping another bill to pay that bill. You never get ahead, so that's just been adding up. I just a little bit of breathing room, and then I'm trying to find something that maybe I can get a small personal loan for another vehicle, because we've been borrowing my parents, and my Jetta's on its last leg. And you can verify with my neighbor, we got rid of the Saab, and the Trailblazer hasn't moved in. Well, I did move it because the police officer stopped by and told me I had to move it. So I did move it on my driveway, but it hasn't been driven because it's got a rod knocking, and we're just trying to get rid of it. So And then of course, Da Vinci, what's going on, good sir? How you doing? And of course, the missus is kind of working through some stuff. So it's a lot piling up on my shoulders, just the mental stuff, and I'm hold on, hold on, guys. So anyway, though, no, there's just a lot of shit building up, and I just don't have the energy. Like right now, I'm streaming, but I'm not really much to say or do to you know be entertaining in any way. So it's really just more or less I was out here and fired up the stream. Not really sure what exactly I'm gonna say, do, or talk about. There's a random guy selling the same car in two different places for the same amount, which um, see if it's the same guy selling both vehicles. I'm looking, like I said, I'm looking for something that's a different spelling from that, I think. Yeah. Yeah, it's a different spelling, same car. The exact, oh, no, it's not the same car. Yeah, it's a similar car. There. Two of the similar cars of the similar year. So, but just trying to find something, you know, cheap that I can either get a small personal loan on if somebody would be willing to. So, just trying to figure it out. So, I'm trying to find a car, pay a bunch of bills, and don't have anything to get there. I always more than happy to say the links are down there if you guys can help, but it's never required. The mistakes that were made, the position I'm in is not your fault. Don't expect you guys to, um, you know, bail me out of anything. But if you can, it's greatly appreciated. Otherwise, I don't know what I'm gonna do right now. I'm just I'm just streaming. I replaced a couple of the I took the two Libre boards uh, out of my lab racks. I took the two Libre boards I had in there and one of the Orange Pis out and put Raspberry Pi 5s that I had in there. So I have three Raspberry Pi 5s and then the 4 gig. I took the 8 gig Orange Pi out because I'm going to maybe do something with the 8 gig Orange Pi. And since it has the eMMC slot already on it, I'm going to see if I can, or not eMMC, NVMe. It does have an eMMC as well. You can see there's an eMMC slot here, and then the NVMe right there, and then the SSD. So I'm going to see about getting a 1 or 2 terabyte drive to put on here, and then maybe load like a RetroPie or something and turn this into like a gaming console. Try it, see how it does. You know, load up some old ROMs that for games that I own. I don't want to do anything illegal. Uh, and then find a monitor and maybe build it into an arcade cabinet or something. And, maybe I can find somebody getting rid of an old arcade cabinet and I can build this into it and have like an old retro arcade thing going on. Al, what's going on, man? Good to see you. It's been a while. Hope you're doing well. Occasionally I lurk on your streams when I see you're live. Um, I'm not gonna lie, I haven't been catching many streams lately. Seems like Projects in Dad's Garage, he streams during the day when I'm at work, so I'll lurk in his streams while I'm working. But for the most part, guys, when I come home from work, I mentally am wore out, so I just shut down and sit on the couch. I haven't really gotten to too much, which sucks because I do want to catch up with everybody and see how everybody's doing, see what projects everybody's working on, but and it really sucks because I don't have the energy to pursue the other thing that I got amped up about and I wanted to do. So I haven't really been pursuing the Protect the Elderly channel and stuff. So, but I need to put together some content for the Protect the Elderly channel. Get some stuff out there. Um, that way, there's just some stuff to kind of keep everyone protected. Uh, that one is still a bit near and dear to my heart because of what I've been seeing. So if you guys haven't subbed to that channel, I need to get a link tree set up with that one for all the links and stuff so you can find the socials, but give me a second here. I'll drop the link to it if anybody cares to go check it out. Protect the Elderly. There's that channel. And then I think the TikTok for, I can't remember how TikTok does their links. TikTok at Protect the Elderly. There we go. Copy. Control V paste. There you go. And then there's the TikTok too. So if you're not following those and you want to help me out, go give them a sub or a follow. It'd be greatly appreciated. But no, I as you guys can see, I've kind of sort of cleared out some of the stuff. The Magneto is never going to go anywhere because nobody's going to offer me enough to take that thing off my shelf. Plus, I'm not meeting anybody halfway. You want it, you got to come get it the hell out of here. And nobody wants to pay the price. So it stays. And it's also a tinkerer's printer. You're not getting it and going to throw 100 things at it and it's going to work. That thing is still, it'll print great for like 3 or 4 prints and then it starts to argue with you for a while. So you just leave it alone and come back and it'll print great for 3 or 4 files and then it'll, drive you nuts. The Centauri, even with all the drama going on around Elegoo right now, I still love that machine and want at least 2 more. I've got enough space up there, I could put 2 more. So I'd love to get my hands on 2 more of those. If anybody wants to see the Open Centauri firmware a little more hands-on, feel free to send me a Centauri Carbon, and I will be more than happy to install it and try it, and we can put it head-to-head against the stock firmware and see what differences are there. But no, life is life, and everybody's having a hard time, and it's that time of year again when things like seasonal depression kick in, and in some cases, well, I'm not looking for a Passat right now. I'm looking for something else. My brother's sending me like ideas, but yeah, no, I'm good. I'm good with his suggestions. He's trying to get me to look at vehicles that are from like the early 2000s that are, higher mileage for the same price as something that's a little newer and maybe not as high a miles and maybe a little more creature comfort. Might be a little smaller, but that's what I'm looking for, is a little bit smaller and more fuel efficient. So, but no, I forget. I just squirrel brained. Sorry, guys. But no, I would like to get my hands on another Centauri or two and run little side by sides of the Open Centauri firmware versus the actual Elegoo version of the Centauri firmware, since we know it's Clipper based and Elegoo lied about that. That was strike one. Then removing any and all information about multicolor for the original Centauri and all those lovely leaks out of China for the Centauri Carbon 2 or the CC2 and the weird unit they decide, or the weird way they went about it, following in the footsteps of FlashForge and some other companies with their multicolor, doing the 4 spools on the side and having the unit mount to the top of the right side of the printer. And don't get me wrong, I mean, if it works, it works. If it's, it's tested and proven that it works, there's no real issue with that. But everybody kind of had their hopes up on that AMS unit that would sit on top, and or at least be like a self-contained unit that you would have, not 4 separate spools mounted to the side, So I don't know. I think that, it would have made more sense to do something like that. And down the road, if I get Open Centauri installed and can get a box turtle kit, I think it'd be kind of cool to throw a box turtle on the Centauri. I just need to get the Open Centauri running on a printer, and with that one being sponsored by Fabrico, with that one being sponsored by Fabrico, I don't want to necessarily be playing around with it. It's a sponsored item. I don't want to, mess with it. So that's why I'm looking to acquire another one. So if you have one and you don't want it, send it my way. If you don't have one and you want to sponsor one, let me know. Especially if you want to sponsor it for that project, for installing the Open Centauri. And then, if nothing else, I got your kit still sitting right here. We could always build that out and put that on the Centauri and see how it does. It's good to see you, Havoc. Hope you're doing well, man. Like I said, I started, I know a lot of you guys are just popping in, so I started building this little cage here out of some 2020 and some brackets I had. I need to get some M3 screws because it uses M3 on here to mount. So I'm gonna get some M3 screws to mount that up there. And then there might, from the looks of it, there might be room under here. I can probably figure out something to put, a couple spools under here, or do 2 spools in the front, 2 spools in the rear of that thing, and mount them up somehow and have them feed up and in, and then feed out and into the printer. And by into the printer, I mean into this one. Digital Dragon and Tin Talon, good to see you guys. I hope you're doing well. Yeah. So yeah, a big part of the reason I haven't really been streaming much is, I guess let's get into some of the stuff, guys. A little more personal stream, probably more so than I should share, but I'm going to share. So my wife is she suffers from anxiety and depression, and when it gets to this time of year, it gets harder for her because seasonal depression on top of standard depression, and then you add in her anxiety. It's very hard. So Dan is mentally beat down by this time of year every year. I get hit with, making sure she's okay and everything is going good with her, working the day job, and then I sit working through my own headaches and drama. So I'm kind of, putting up with a lot and doing a lot, and I love her and I'm not leaving her. That's never going to be an option. But it does take its toll every year, and it does kind of eat away at me. And I try to put on a smile and a happy face, and I try to be a happy guy all the time. Sometimes I get excited and stuff, but yeah, it just it wears at you. And then when the finances don't line up, and that builds up on you a lot, and then there's issues with my youngest daughter, and her state has been a big issue too. We've had to call the police on her twice, and they said that if they have to show up again, she's going to be going to a facility. So there's that. There's been a lot going on. and it's been eating away at me and eating away at me, and I I just I don't I don't mentally have the power to give to you guys uh to give you guys like a good stream where like building something, working on something, we're doing something, I'm sharing my mistakes so you don't make them, that kind of stuff. I don't have that power, that energy right now to um put on the happy face and keep going. So that's why you guys haven't seen me. I get off of work and come home, and I'm either mental gymnastics or I'm shutting down. Um, I really only know two ways to deal with it, which is try and fix everything, which just makes it worse, or I just sit back and let it run its course, and you know, so I yeah, been in a tough spot. And before, I used to be able to just come out here, talk to you guys, have fun, unwind for a little bit in the evenings after work, and things in the house were still going well, but it's not so much the case anymore. Um, so I don't know that this will be my last stream, um, but it may be my last stream for a few months till we get through this time of year. I would like to do a Christmas stream like I've done for the last few years now. I would love to be able to do a Christmas stream and set something up with some giveaways and things like that. But I don't have the pull in the community like I used to. Um, I don't have the companies wanting to work with me like I used to. When I first started doing everything, I was one of the only ones in this space. Um, and so I brought that value. Since then, a lot of you have come out and started doing your own streams, and I'm proud of you, and I'm excited. And I've said it once, and I'll say it again. I wanted more people in this space, and they're here. So I knew in doing that, some of the relationships I've built through some of my sponsors were going to probably be compromised because many of you are way more entertaining and way more consistent than I am. So I knew all the risks going in, and I harbor no hard feelings towards anyone who is getting any help from any company. Like, you started doing this for, knowledge sake, or because you wanted to just share what you were working on with people who are like-minded, and along the way you got the attention of companies and other manufacturers, and my loss is your gain, and I'm very excited for that. I'm very happy for that. But because of my inconsistencies and my inconsistent viewer count, because sometimes I stream and there's, you know like right now it says 16 views, 8 concurrent viewers, so it says there's 16 views right now. And there are times where I fire up a stream, and in the first 30 minutes I'm already at 30 views. So it's really hard. Oh yeah, Tin Talent. I know, man. I know that's why I said I know there's a lot of us that are all going through some stuff right now, and that's why I said I don't expect anyone to be able to help me with any of my financial issues or financial woes. Um, if it's possible, it's greatly appreciated. That helps alleviate some of the headache. But you know, you had 10 views today. Hey, Al, it's the uphill battle, brother. It's the uphill battle. Streaming inconsistency is the key. Um, I'm terrible at that, so that's why I don't ever, like, I sat here for 5-10 minutes before anybody popped in. So just consistency is key. I can tell you how to be good at streaming. I can't tell you that I am good at streaming. So I can give you all the advice and tell you the do's and don'ts, like set a schedule, stick to your schedule. Um, have projects lined up in the works that you're going to work on. Let everybody know what's coming up so they know, so they can prepare. So scheduling your streams is going to be your biggest one, making sure you have a set schedule. And then projects, letting people know what the projects are. Like, we're going to do this on this stream today, and then tomorrow we're going to do this, and then the next day we're going to do this. And however you have your schedule set up, um, that's going to be the key. Letting people know what, so they can be excited for it. And that can be one of those, I definitely want to see that, or if I got time, I'll be there kind of a thing. Is the most scheduled and you've been advertising. Yeah, just keep it up, man. It is a slow and steady hurdle to jump over. Like, you look at Danny from Neokoi. He he was talking about, he put out 200 videos so far this year already, and went from 300 to 30,000 across his social medias. So, and he made himself a or set himself a goal of one video every 3 days. And whether it be a short form, long form, whatever the case may be, he told himself, I'm going to do, you know, I'm going to do a video every 3 days. So at his 200th video for the year, he explained his process. So, that's awesome for him. And short form, long form, just, if you can make content, pump it out there. I'm trying with the protect the elderly stuff to, find things that are either something I've experienced myself, or the scams that I know about, and kind of a little what to watch for and how to deal with it. I need to get up and go start spreading the word. I have to get to some churches and give them my info, or get church contact info, and kind of email out to them, reach out to them, and explain who I am, what I'd like to do, and the fact that I would love to come out on like a Saturday afternoon for an hour just to have a talk, and then answer some questions about, types of scams that are out there, and what to watch for, and if you're, how to, kind of get them. Uh, so I need to start getting the ball rolling on that, and I would love to be able to, record these talks and then be able to upload them to the internet, so people can kind of see the spiel, and then like maybe record just the Q&A section. So if somebody had like questions, you could be like, at this talk, we did a Q&A, and these are the questions that were asked, and be able to kind of record what people say or ask, and then my responses, so that this way, if somebody has a similar question, they'd be able to go, oh, okay, so that's what he means by look for this, and how to, mitigate or get around their bullshit. But yeah, life has just been really hard lately mentally, and that's why, like I said, I don't expect anyone to, uh, we're all battling our own issues right now. So I don't expect anyone to I shouldn't say expect. That's a shitty way to say it. I know everyone has their own issues to deal with, and I don't I I I don't think badly of anyone who cannot help. Let's put it that way. I don't think down on anyone who can't help. We all got our own shit going on. So if you can't, that's fine. If you don't want to, again, that's fine. You don't have to help me. It's you have your own, families to worry about, your own things to worry about. So take care of you and yours first. Always take care of you and yours first. Don't worry about me. We'll figure things out. So, but no, like I said, I wanted to come on and kind of, you know, let you guys know so you guys kind of understand where I'm at, what's going on, and you know, that's kind of it. I don't know that I don't know how long I'm going to stream today. I really don't. I wish I could tell you, but I really have no clue. Could be 5 minutes more. It could be another hour. I don't really know, you know. Have been, like I said, I've just been kind of cruising marketplace looking for something inexpensive that, we can get just to get us around so we can get my parents back their vehicle. There's a lot of stuff that I've been finding that's in the, you know, $2,000 to $3,000 range. That's, look, it looks good on marketplace, but it's marketplace. They always tell you it's good running, no problems, and then you go look at their profiles. Which, if you guys have never done that, if you go click on like on something, and then you click on the person who's selling it, if you scroll down, you can see, and like, this guy's selling 2 cars and some tires and got some other miscellaneous stuff, but he's got 2 cars for sale. So when they post in there that these vehicles are good running vehicles with no problems, some red flags to look for are: does it have a dealer plate on it? Does it have a temp tag on it? Stuff like that. Because if it has a dealer plate on it, then that's somebody who works at a dealership who's just posting them on marketplace to get them sold. They don't know shit about that car other than what was told to them. You know what I mean? Sly Dog, what's going on, Steven? And Lee Marie, what is going on? Jeremy or Keela? Probably Keela, but either one of you guys, hi. I always say that, but it's usually Jeremy because Keela's usually on her Mrs. Lee Marie 3D. So it's good to see you guys. I hope you're doing well. Stephen, thank you, brother. Greatly appreciated. Greatly, greatly appreciated. Got to throw a heart on that. Was not, Thank you, brother. Thank you very much. Yeah, it is Jeremy. Good. I was gonna say, because if Keela's out in the shop, she might be on the work account, but I kind of figured it was probably you, but I wanted to err on the side of the missus, so it saved me from, you won't get mad. She'd probably get mad at me, because why would I assume? Happy wife, happy life. But no, back to what I was saying. Like I said, I'm just kind of surfing marketplace, seeing if I can find us something, But yeah, I mean, if anybody missed what I was saying earlier, just know there's a lot that's been going on in the personal life. Feel free to go back and, you know, watch through me explaining stuff. I really don't want to explain it again. But no, so like I said, we got the Jetta is kind of on its last leg. It's 305,000 miles on a gasoline engine. Transmission starting to slip. It's having issues shifting out of fourth gear. So, um, yeah, when you're driving it, it'll get into third gear, get into fourth gear, and then it'll hold out at like 3,500 RPM and doesn't want to shift. So then you kick it over and manually shift it because it's got that, manually shift it up or down. So kick it over and shift it up into fifth gear and then up into sixth and just ride it that way for a while. But I bought the sensors to replace in the car. I need to get them replaced. I got to take the intake off and get the map sensor, which is right under the intake. Thankfully, it's 4 screws to remove the intake and one pipe. So take the pipe off, take the intake off, take the map sensor out, clean up around it. If there's oil on the map sensor, then I know that I need to replace the there's a is it PCV valve, or there's a little valve with a plastic cover. I can buy those parts for It's like another 25 or 30 bucks off Rock Auto, and um, then it's just a like a rubber membrane and a spring. So I just and a new cover. It's a new cover, a rubber membrane, and a spring. You just take the cover off, take all that out, clean everything up, wipe it up real good, and then put the new um, spring and rubber membrane in, and then put the cover back over, and then that'll keep oil from flowing back into the intake. Um, and then I've got I did the cam sensor already because that was right on top. It was one screw. So I replaced the cam sensor. I have to do the map sensor. And then there's the crank sensor, which is down under, thankfully, on this has got 2.5 liter 5 cylinder in it. So it's half of a Lambo. So I always joke that it's the Jettagini instead of a Lamborghini or a Jetta. I call it the Jettagini. Um, but that's actually up uh, on this one. It's not that hard to get to. It's up underneath on the bottom of the exhaust. There's a spot between, I forget which cylinders it is, but you reach right up in there and take the two screws out, and then the cam sensor drops right out. And then just follow the wire back and unplug it, plug in the new wire, run the cable back up, put the sensor up into place, two screws, and that'll be the three sensors that could be causing most of the problem. But if those sensors don't do it, then the other problem is the timing chains. I say timing chains because it's actually two chains with a sprocket in the middle, and the timing kit, the chain sprocket, all the parts for the timing set for timing are like 350 to 400 bucks on Rock Auto. So um, it's one of those. I figured I would do the sensors first because they were 100 bucks. So I ordered three sensors for $100, 95 and some change, so 100 bucks. Um, so I ordered the sensors my last paycheck. I just got to get them. I got to get the other two put on. And like I said, mentally, when I get home, I'm usually wiped out, but probably, depending on how my daughter's volleyball goes, I'll probably work on those this week, come home and get the car up on the stands and climb underneath and get that one, and then on top I'll probably do that one last, just because it's not terrible to get to. It's just a pain in the ass crawling around on the ground, especially when you have a gravel driveway. It's a royal pain in the ass on a gravel driveway when you got a 46-year-old back that hurts like hell every time you turn around. My loving missus is sending me something. What is it? Oh, she's sending me like cutesy things. I'll look at those later. Yeah, I'll look at those later. I'm streaming right now, so I told her I was gonna probably stream if I came out here, and she told me to go do what I gotta do, so I did. Uh, but yeah, gang, I like I said, just battling through some stuff, and it's not. I feel bad because you guys have been here to kind of like support me and help me out with life, as it's been a clusterfuck in the past. But right now it's like I said, I'm more in like shutdown mode. So I come home and I just don't have energy for really anything, including working on the house, working on the cars. And it sucks because the house needs help because, like I said, with Sam going through her stuff, she's pretty much in shutdown mode. So there's a lot of things that are kind of slipping through the cracks that need to get done. And at some point, I just got to put on my big boy pants, quit my bitching, and just get to it. So um, it's probably going to be, like I said, I'm this week. Come hell or high water, this week I'm gonna get those sensors replaced on the Jetta. Um, Probably work on some stuff around the house. Get some dishes, some laundry, do a little bit of deep cleaning that needs to be done, and get a bunch of random crap out of the house that don't need to be here. Um, start doing the other stuff. Maybe doing some things around the house will help. Help the wifey's mental state too. If things are a little different around the house, maybe that'll help her out. So maybe there's a little hidden bonus in there if I if I can get some stuff done, maybe that'll help. So, but who knows? Like I said, guys, this what you're seeing here is how I've been, and this isn't what you guys come to watch. So having streams like this is not my idea of a good time, especially when the channel is supposed to be, helping people. Um, rebuilding old printers and giving them away and working on projects and kind of walking you guys through what I'm doing, how I'm doing it, and what needs to be done. And here I am being, you know, doing not what needs to be done. So got to work on that stuff, and at some point when I can actually focus and read and whatnot, because like I said, I need some M3 T nuts to mount that up there. So I gotta get some M3 T nuts so I can mount that up there, and then I can set that next to that, and then feed that into there. And I got to replace the hot end on here so that I have a cutter in there. So there's things to do. So it's just getting the time and energy to do it. More so the energy than the time, but um, yeah, I've I guess let's kind of sidetrack a little bit from what I'm kind of talking about. What's to any of the car guys in the chat? What's your take on like the 20 teens Ford Escapes? Like I'm looking at them because they've got that EcoBoost engine in them. They've got, it's front wheel drive, all wheel drive. Um, they're smaller, so a little better on fuel. Like let me get off the whiny talk and get onto that. Like I'm seeing these for the $2,000 to $3,000 range, and some of them are saying, like I should say, like, the $2,000 to $4,000 range, we'll say, averaging around 3,500 somewhere in there. But I'm looking at those because I figure if I can get one of them, that'd be a nice little vehicle, something we can put the seats down when you need the storage space, or we need the ability to load some stuff. Like if I go to, you know, Midwest Rep Rap Fest, I can throw the seats down in it and load some printers and go, and still have room for someone if they want to ride along. Um, and otherwise, I mean, there's space in the back for my daughter's volleyball stuff, and then we can throw, 2 kids comfortably, 3 kids if we needed to. So I'm kind of looking at those, and I haven't heard terrible things about them myself personally, but if anybody else has any input on those, it'd be nice to know. But I'm looking at that more rounded off, like 20 teens variant of it, not the early 2000s that look like a shrunken Explorer. I want something a little bit newer. Nothing against the early 2000s, but when the early 2000s are like a $500 difference, you know, you can get something newer in year, maybe a little better on gas. So it's kind of where I'm at. Nintendo Switch games. Somebody's selling a bunch of Nintendo Switch games. But yeah, so if I go down the route of turning an orange pie into a like retro pie, would you guys be interested in that? I mean, you guys seem to be pretty interested. I can show you the you can see sitting right here. There's the lab racks. It's legit right here. You guys seem pretty interested in this. The reason why I switched to pies was, again, the PoE hats, so I could do the little switch I have in here. I want to get another Raspberry Pi. I'm going to see if I can find another. I want to try and find a Pi 4. to be honest with you. I have 3 Pi 5s in here because that's what I had available. So I put 3 Pi 5s in it. I put another Pi 5 in there if I can find one. If I come across another Pi 5, I'll throw a Pi 5 in there. You know, but I have a couple, like this is just a Raspberry Pi 3 3B. I could throw this in there and get a PoE hat for this, and then have this little guy in there. I could use this as like a little. It doesn't have Wi-Fi. It's just the 3B. It's not the 3B plus. So I could load something on here, throw it in there, and use it for something. You know. But yeah, I figure if I get the depending on which PoE hats I get, they've got the ones that have the M.2 slot on them as well. So I could do M.2 and PoE, and then run just the network switch. Whenever I go to places, I just plug in the switch. Switch powers up all the Pis. That was kind of the hope in the beginning with this, and then Orange Pi sent me their Pis, and you know. But I figure I got other projects I can use the Orange Pis for. I've got one in there now, but like I said, I can pull that out and put another Raspberry Pi in it. That's the problem with a lot of the other boards like this, is like this has a 5-volt and a ground pin right on the board, like right where my thumb is at here. There's a set of pins, jumper pins, or just a set of pins for 5-volt and ground. So if I had like some kind of dedicated power supply, kind of like this little fella, you know, I could mount this in there off to the side, a little double-sided tape or something, mount it to the side, and then run the mains voltage in, and then run 5 volts directly in and just drop it right on top of the board. That's cool. But if you're trying to run multiples, this is only, what is this one, 25? Yeah, this is only 25 by 5. So it's not enough to pull, you know, more than like 2. You know, you can run like 2 off of this. No, not even 25 5. Yeah, you can pull 1. Really, this will power 1 off this big old thing. So it's not really enough, you know. Really wouldn't use Orange Pi for this unless you will be using the version of Android. Yeah, the Orange Pi OS is kind of finicky, but there are some other, you know, other OS builds that'll run or should run on it. I don't know. We'll have to find out. I mean, worst case, like I said, I've got a bunch of Libre boards sitting here. I've got the Alta board, has 128 gig. I have 128 gig eMMC on this. So we can always try playing around with RetroPie on this and see how it does. Yeah, like I said, there's all kinds of different options, things we can do, stuff we can play around with. So yeah, I mean, we'll figure it out. I think probably one of the things I might do on an upcoming stream is see if we can get the Focus Odin 5 up and printing again. Yeah, so what I was going to say is I know that the Libre boards, they've got Laka on there, which is, you know, another emulator software. So I'll have to check that out and see. Like I said, I got 128 gigs worth of storage on this thing, so more than enough storage space. Just boot it up off the SD, and then rewrite the Laka image to the 128 gig eMMC, or get their little USB eMMC and write it that way. And then the cool part is, if I had that little adapter, I could then copy a bunch of shit over, you know. So all of my legally obtained ROMs for all of the games that I have. So that could be fun. But gang, no, huge apologies to anybody that popped in thinking there was going to be a lot of fun and exciting knowledge being dropped tonight. It's not. Um, and I'm I don't know. I just like I said, I'm just kind of in a rut, in a funk, in a place, and not trying to hurt anyone or upset anyone, but I wanted to come on and at least talk to you guys, let you know that more than there's more going on than a lot of people are aware of. It's not that I want to be away; it's just that I'm kind of working through the shit. So, but yeah, I say you guys are all awesome, and I do love you guys, and I appreciate you all. But yeah, I think once we kind of get through the rough stuff, I know built over bot. I got to get with him still too because that little orange thing right there's got to go to him. I got to get with him and find out when he might be available to meet up. It's hard to get him away from work. I may have to take a day and just drive down and visit him. He's about a 5 hour drive, so I would legit have to make a day of it to go down and see him. Maybe take my wife. We can go down to his neck of the woods and drop off that, and then afterwards I can take the wife and go somewhere just the two of us for a night and then come home the next day. Down under Maker, I kind of explained a little bit of what was going on, where I'm at, and that I don't know how often I will be streaming, but cruise by, like, and interact. Well, thank you, Down Under Maker. I'm glad you're here. Um, the Cliff Notes version is there's a lot going on in my house mentally, uh, financially, and everything else. So I've been in a place and kids breakfast time. Nice. I keep forgetting you guys are rolling into morning. So it's Monday morning for you. So hopefully your Monday is going well over there on the other side of the globe. But no, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Um, but yeah, I'm getting there. I'm getting there. Just little by little, day by day. We'll get there. Huh. Sorry, I was just yeah. I think rather than hold you guys up, is there anybody streaming right now? Is there anybody else on? Go to YouTube and see if somebody's streaming or getting ready to stream, and then see if they have it set up where we can just kind of carry over to them. I don't see anyone else on, but no, nobody else is streaming over here on the YouTubes. But I think I'm gonna wrap this thing up. I'll let you guys kind of do your thing, and you guys can, you know, have a good day. You know, I mean, like I said, it's never my intention or my goal to bring anyone down. I just really needed to, you know, open up a little bit, let you guys know where I'm at. I thank you guys for coming and hanging out. Uh, hope you guys have a great day. Again, Steven, thanks for the 20, my man. That's awesome. Greatly appreciated. Um, but yeah, gang, I hope you guys have a great rest of your evening, day, or if you're watching this after the fact, thanks for watching a rerun, you know. But yeah, we're gonna go ahead and say goodbye, guys. Probably gonna just hide out here in the garage and see if somebody else fires something up and maybe lurk over there for a bit and just kind of sit out here and decompress, because I'm just going to keep talking in circles, and you know, I don't want you guys to sit here and watch me keep saying the same things over and over and over again. So Dell's sending me quotes for work for servers. Oh, I will. Before I go, I gotta tell you guys. Um, did you guys, or do you guys know, or have you guys heard about these? The the PlayStation 5 APU single cards that they were used for like crypto mining. Have you guys heard of these things? Give me a second. I wanna share this with you guys if you guys are interested in picking one up. I'd love to get one myself, but it's just, again, not in the finances. I think it'd be fun to kind of play around with. You know what I mean? Give me a second to get into the. Let me get into eBay. These are on eBay right now. Um, Something to talk about that takes my mind off the other shit. No, not eBay. Okay. There's these cards, and this guy's kind of one of the cheapest ones I've seen so far. Let me get the link real quick. But what they are is it's an AMD APU. This guy's selling them with 128 gig M.2 SSDs already on board. I've been seeing some videos of guys installing like Linux distros on them and using them for other stuff. Thought it'd be kind of cool to get one to like check out and play around with. They're basically, when the PS5 came out, they had a issue with passing quality controls. They had all these APUs that came out that were, had issues with cores or something else that just weren't working properly. So they would disable some of the cores because they weren't functioning properly, and then they just slapped them on these cards, and guys were getting these and loading them up in crypto mining servers and then using them for crypto because they weren't terrible at the time. I'm not sure how profitable they'd be now if you wanted to add them to your crypto mining rigs, but I think with the fact that there is a Linux distro out there that can run on them, I think it'd be a cool thing to get and play around with. I don't know how well it would run, several printers, but it would definitely be an interesting thing to check out. Here's actually a guy selling the Warthog crypto miners. And looking at it, it's a 3D printed cases, so you could totally find a case out there, and these are running 3 of them. So it'd be kind of cool, get one, throw 3, like print the case, and then um, run 3 of them. However, this guy's selling them for even cheaper. But I think he's just selling the case. Yeah, it's just a cluster case, so you can put 3 of them in there. So he's selling the cases for $60. But you could totally, it just runs off a standard 8-pin graphics plug. So you get yourself a standard, power supply, and just use the 8-pin connector for the graphics card. Plug it into the board, powers everything, and you're ready to rock and roll. So it's pretty cool. I've seen a couple videos on these where some guys will just use a blower fan through the backside of it, since it's got one of those shielded heat sinks where it's got the fins are all connected across the top, so you have to force air through and out. And then I've seen other guys where they take a pair of cutters and cut all of that off so that the fins are open, so you can put fans on top to pull the heat up and away. So I guess it would really be, up to you to figure out which way you want to, you know, which way you'd want to run it. But me personally, I would just find some kind of a blower fan to connect to the rear end of it and just force the air through. That's kind of the original way it was kind of built and designed. So, but yeah, I kind of thought, these would be kind of like a neat little something to get for a project. Not really sure what, but thought it'd be kind of cool. So there's a little something. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know what I would do with it. I know some guys run like an emulator on. I think some people have even installed Windows on this thing, if I remember right. But you run into some issues with drivers because it's not a standard. It's not something that's a board standard. It's kind of a custom built thing. But this guy is currently saying he just relisted it, and it says uh, 89.99 or best offer, and I think shipping is $8 for shipping. And I think if I remember right, I got an offer because I was watching the item. I got an offer from them. I think it was like turn it into a slicing station. I have to check that out because I haven't even really looked at it. I got a couple of Pi 5s sitting here, so I don't necessarily know that I need a CM5, but I would like to get a CM5 and one of the dev boards. I think that'd be kind of cool. I want to print parts and build a second lab racks, but I want to do a 10U lab racks, so I'd be printing two of the legs to go twice as tall. And then I might have to see if LTX is interested in making another set of panels. Um, that'd be cool. Plenty of space on those side panels, especially if you go 10U tall. Yeah. Instead of having a little 5U lab racks, I'd have a 10U lab racks way up here. Plenty of space in there then for stuff like screens and switches and all kinds of goodies, breakout plates. That'd be kind of cool. Hell, I don't recall how deep these things are, but might even be able to mount something like this in there. Be kind of cool. But gang, I do again thank you guys for coming and hanging out, listening in on basically me whining and crying like a little baby. So I thank you guys for that, for coming and hanging out. Let me sign into my eBay real quick here and actually see if that was the one that I was watching. Give me a second to log in here. Oh, it's telling me I got to log in on my phone. Damn you. All right. Tap here to approve sign in. Yep, gotta love two-factor. Keeps you safe, man. Keeps idiots off your account. Yes, trust this browser. Down under, yeah, we'll do, man. We'll do. There's, like I said, they're just all up in my head with stuff. I was pretty sure I added that to my watch list, but it did say that he relisted those. So, um, let me go to my watch list. Oh, there we go. It ended. View relisted item. There we go. Yep, that was the one I sent you guys. Okay. Where are these being shipped out of? My neighbor's ribs smell really good right now. Winchester, Virginia. Okay. But yeah, I guess I will let you guys get kind of back to your regularly scheduled program. I will talk to you guys all later. I'm gonna kind of do my thing. So I'll talk to you guys all later. The usual though, stay out of trouble, stay out of jail, happy 3D printing and all those things. And bye, gang.